Hello, my name is Dr. Amina Yonis. I'm an academic, I'm a content creator on YouTube with over 7 million views. I'm a mum of 2 under 2, and I'm also the founder of The Page Doctor, an academic platform that helps students graduate. I'll start by sharing a bit about my PhD, which I completed at University College London. I was looking at the protein called actin, and I was interested in its positioning within the actin cortex, which is the bit around the exterior of a cell. And I was interested in understanding how actin was involved in the migration of cells around the body, which ultimately is involved in cancer. My lab was based in the physics department within the nanotechnology building in UCL. During the time of my PhD, did not see a single other PI, which is a principal investigator. You may have also heard of the word PhD supervisor, and this PI, is the person that is responsible for getting grants for a lab, running projects, and also supervising PhD students and other postdocs. During my time as a PhD student, over the 3-4 years, I started to ask lots of questions, and I started to be really observant as to why it is that women were pushed out of academia. And I kind of whittled it down to one main thing, although there are many. That one thing is the fact that taking a career break in academia is frowned upon. Having gaps within your publishing CV is something that's frowned upon, and that is something that as women lots of us want to do. We want to take some time out to have a family, to have children, and to be carers for our maybe elderly family, elderly parents. And to take that time out means that we are no longer publishing, we are no longer actively involved in research, and that is frowned upon when applying for grants in the future. Looking at my lab at the time, it was overwhelmingly more females within the lab. However, as you climb ranks and you get to more senior positions, what I found is that the number of women declined rapidly, and so something was happening from their passion, interest during their PhD to being pushed out as they reached that sort of senior stage, that professorship stage. As I mentioned earlier, I started my YouTube channel during my PhD studies, and it was a space where I could really help others. It was a space where I could teach everything academic and educational, everything to do with passing your GCSEs and your A-levels, to writing a strong personal statement, to writing a strong essay introduction, to having a good CV layout and structure, just literally anything that will take you through your academic journey and your education. I was the face of it. I was that person that was diversifying the face of academia, and what I found was that there was this huge gap, and I realized that students really struggled with academic writing, and I realized that this was a major problem. And then when I thought back about it, I thought to myself, well, actually, was I ever formally taught how to write a good essay? The answer to that was no, and I think a lot of us in that position will probably say the same thing. We are not taught how to write a good essay. We are not taught what good writing at academic level looks like. We are not taught how to critically read literature, how to think about research in a critical way at university. These are skills that I learnt during my PhD and my master's, and they are skills that are almost essential for students to pass during their undergraduate as well. So that is where I had an idea to further support and provide services, which is where the Page Doctor came about, and that is sort of how it was born. As I like to say, the Page Doctor is my first child. I have 2 children. The Page Doctor is my first one, so I've got 3. And it's my baby. It's recently has been accepted onto the King's College London Accelerator Programme, Business Accelerator Programme, which is a programme that supports new ventures like mine. I'm also a mum of 2 under the age of 2, and for me, motherhood has been one of the biggest challenges that I've ever faced. It is also one that I feel like is the most rewarding out of everything that I've done, no matter how hard it is every single day. It's just so fascinating to see this little 2.5 kilogram little newborn grow into a 10 kilogram, 11 kilogram, almost 2-year-old who is starting to talk and running around and walk and says no. It's just so fascinating to think that that is something that I have been involved in, and something that I can celebrate, and something that I can be proud of. And for me, the challenge has always been balance, especially the past 2 years, being a mother, having a business, being an academic, being a teacher, being a wife, being a friend. I have found that balance is something that I've really struggled with. How do I reach the pinnacle of my career whilst also being a super mum, whilst also being a great YouTuber, whilst also being an entrepreneur? How do I do all of those things at the same time and be excellent at everything? And I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that in life, and this is I think a top tip that I would probably give to anyone in a similar position, is to adopt an anti-perfectionist approach to life. Now, even saying that out loud it's very not me, because I know that I'm a perfectionist, and I think lots of us that are academics are perfectionists. Our whole lives we've had to think about every minute on the clock. We've had to think about every microliter in our pipettes. We have to think about every data point and make sure it's super accurate. And that sort of accuracy and perfectionism is necessary, and it's a requirement within academia. But to carry your life like that isn't healthy, and it's also just not possible. And so I've had to adopt this anti-perfectionism in my life, to accept that everything in life cannot be perfectly executed. Rather, I have to accept success as simply completing a task to a standard that is acceptable. So my advice to any female students out there that are looking to enter academia is to keep your dream alive. Remember that things are always changing. The academic landscape is forever changing. Don't ever think that because you haven't seen a professor who is a woman, or because you haven't seen someone who looks like you in that space, that space isn't for you. You can be the next Nobel Prize winner. There is nothing stopping you except for yourself. I know that loads of universities are introducing different schemes and programs to try and diversify the face of academia, to take that disadvantage and turn it into an advantage. I came across this quote recently and it really resonated with me, and the quote is, "Diversity enriches the educational experience." And I really, really, really believe that. Having a diverse leadership team, having a diverse academic sphere, having a diverse, just a group of people makes such a difference in the results and the outcome. Having different thoughts, different critical ideas is so, so important. So do not give up that dream, keep it up, and you can do it. Good luck.